Okay. Hiya, Hinsters. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new, welcome too. This is my first time in a long while to do a stream like this. And it's going to be quite big. It's going to be quite boom, boom, pow, because I got a lot to cover and I'm on a bit of a high, a bit of a vibe right now. So we are going to ride that vibe on Tuesday due day, this here Tuesday due day, and talk about Mars and Mars's transit through the sign of Aquarius, which is the last masculine sign of the astrological year and the penultimate season of the astrological year. So it's pretty big. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and this video is going to be for all the 12 rising signs. I'm just going to wait a wee while for someone to come in to the stream. Maybe no one will come into the live, but anyway, I hope you are all well. My name is Henny, if you didn't know already. I'm a spiritual astrologer. Give this stream or this video a thumbs up if you like it, if you enjoy my work, and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is not a paid promotion. This is just something really cute that I picked up at a convenience store near me. It is a coffee drink, cold, and I think it's going to be quite sweet. Let me try to open it and not spill it everywhere. That would be quite Mars, wouldn't it? Mars and Aquarius. Aquarius is what I also like to call Aquarius, if you didn't know. And I think it's not going to open the way I want it to open. It says here, Yonen, the place for opening. Okay, maybe I'm just going to open it like this. Hope you are having a good Aquarius season thus far. By the way, we are about, I made a royal mess of this, and we are about halfway through Aquarius season. You know what, let me get a cup. I'll be right back. Okay. Hopefully this is not gonna be a messy. Ooh, that is kind of messy. Oh well. Okay, I spilled a little bit, but it is a Mars and Aquarius video. It is a video about a malefic god. And Aquarius is often associated with splats and spills and the unexpected, the off the charts. Do leave me a comment, by the way, if you are tuning into the live stream, this here live stream. And if you are also tuning in later to this Mars and Aquarius video, I will be doing timestamps for this video. But if you're watching live or just after the upload has finished or the stream has completed, then it might be a wee while before I actually get the timestamps done for you. So please be patient with me. So Mars and Aquarius, I have a lot to say, a lot to do. It's going to be very show and telly as well. Do stay with us all the way through, I hope. But this is, yes, Mars and Aquarius for all the signs. And first of all, the dates for this period roughly are February 13th to March 22nd, 2024. And I do like that this transit kind of ends just as we kick off with the brand new astrological year and Aries season. That's when Mars actually gets into Pisces. So I'm loving that. And the tone then, what is the tone of this here Mars in Aquarius? Hello, if you're just tuning in, do leave a comment if you can, so I know who you are, and let me know how your Tuesday due day is going. But what is the tone then? So we have Mars that will be entering Aquarius in a few days. right? And Aquarius is a sign ruled in traditional astrology. By the way, I'm a traditional Hellenistic astrologer. So Saturn is the hello, Kinsa, Chinsa, Cinza. How do I pronounce that? Hello. But Aquarius is the masculine sign ruled by Saturn. So we have this god Saturn contributing to the tone of this Mars in Aquarius transit. Mars in Cancer. Ooh, excellent. Okay, Sinza. Thank you for writing the pronunciation, Sinza. Hello, Rebirthed as well. I am very well. Thank you, Rebirthed. It's really weird that I'm seeing more people come into my streams. I think it's because I'm in Korea now, so like the time zones have shifted a bit. So maybe more people can actually tune in. It's a Tuesday as well. Weekday. I don't usually do weekday streams, but anyway. Yes, Mars entering Aquarius with Saturn in Pisces hosting this transit. So it's really important when we look at the planet going into any sign to see which planet rules that sign as well, because that's kind of like the host, or the one that is the god that is setting the tone of that transit, the god that is hosting the planet going through its sign. So Saturn at the 7th degree of Pisces, I do feel like this is going to be, hello, UK Newcastle. Oh my God, I did my A-levels in Newcastle a long, long time ago. I went to Newcastle College. This is so cool. This is very Aquarius season. I love it. But that's where I did my A-levels. What do you do in Newcastle? Are you a student? Do you work? A bit of both? Anyway, what was I saying? So that's important, the tone, right? And which god is hosting Mars? So we know it's Saturn, so we have a malefic planet hosting a malefic planet. So, and we have the 7th degree, the number 7 we do. So yes, please remember, Mars is a malefic. And so there is lots of room and space for us to expect challenges during this transit, or during any Martian transit, to embrace abrasion as well. That's what I have for us. Let's embrace the abrasion. Because, sometimes it's good to have a challenge. And if you have a lot of squares in your birth chart, for example, you will know what I'm talking about. Mars rules squares, and the square aspect in astrology is sometimes, or very often, considered a quote-unquote bad aspect, but it's really simply a challenging aspect, and Mars is the ruler of challenges. We're going to get into a bit of a story time in a moment about Mars, so stay tuned for all the malefic goodies that Mars is about. Plant medicine, oh great, Rebirth. I know nothing about that. If you have any social media or anything that I can follow where you talk about or present on plant medicine, that would be great. I will definitely give that a follow. But yes, also what's interesting is we have Mars entering Aquarius at 0 degrees, while Pluto is also there at 0 degrees Aquarius, right off the get-go, which is great. And I did a video on Pluto in Aquarius for all the signs as well recently, so do check that out if you are so inclined. I feel like this is another recipe in many ways for explosion and intensity. I think it will be very hard for Mars not to speak in your chart, in your life during this transit. And we also have Mars coming off a conjunction with Venus and Capricorn. So Mars and Venus will have been dancing quite closely together when Mars breaks away. And that's also really significant with these two gods in harmony and then parting. And then for quite a wee while during the Mars and Aquarius transit, Venus, because Venus, she moves much faster, she will catch up with Mars and they will continue this dance through quite a chunk of this Mars and Aquarius transit. Like I said, I have a lot to say and I want to make sure I say everything. Let's do the story time, shall we? I have not read a book on my channel in quite some time, and this is, if you didn't know, this is Chris Brennan's book, Hellenistic Astrology. If you like books, if you like reading about astrology, I definitely recommend it. But we're going to read a bit about Mars. So this is not my take, but according to this book by Chris Brennan. But Mars, as we know, is a malefic, so lots of goody baddiness. And some of the things that I mentioned, you might not have ever heard of Mars being associated with, but this is what bedtime story. Nice, since yeah, I hope to lull you to a nice fiery sleep with this talk of Mars. Or maybe you're a night owl. Where are you, by the way? Since I'm in Korea, so it's like early evening now, 6 p.m. But anyway, yes, Mars rules such things as violence. This is quoting the book directly. Violence, wars, robbery, screams, insolence, adultery, taking away of one's possessions, banishment, exile, estrangement from one's parents, captivity, the RAPE of women, abortions, sexual intercourse, marriages, loss of good things, lies, hopeless situations, violent thefts, robbery, plundering, separations of friends, anger, fighting, verbal abuse, hatred, lawsuits. He also brings about violent murders, wounds and bloodshed, attacks of fevers, ulcers, skin eruptions, inflammations, imprisonment, torture, masculinity, perjury, deception, those who have much experience in wrongdoing, and those who work with fire or iron, those who work with their hands, and masons. He brings about leaders and military service and high-ranking officers, soldiers, sovereignty, hunting, chasing, falling from heights or from four-footed animals, poor vision, apoplexy. Of parts of the body, he rules over the head, the buttocks, and the genitals. Internally, he rules the blood, the seminal passages, bile, the excretion of feces, the back portion of the individual, walking backwards and falling on one's back. He also rules that which is hard and abrupt. Of substances, he rules iron and the regalia of clothing as a result of the ram, and wine and legumes. It is of the nocturnal sect, the color red and pungent in taste. So that's just a little bit. Ooh, Sinza, you're from the US. Which state, Sinza? I've never been to the US, but I have a lot of American friends, and I do want to go to the US at some point. That's a little bit for you then on Mars. Yes, it's very lovely. A lovely painting of Mars there. As I said, Mars is one of the malefic planets, so we would expect a bit more of that ilk. Texas, oh my God, Texas is humongous. I'm always amazed about how many UKs you can fit inside the state of Texas. It's just mind-boggling. Huge place. Okay, there were a few things I also wanted to kind of mention as I was like channeling for this video and this topic on Mars and Aquarius. So way back in the day when I first started this channel, I did do a mini series on Mars through the signs. I did take that series down, but in the Mars in Aquarius series, I remember I talked about Missy Elliott, and when I was like a teenager and watching MTV Cribs. I don't know if any of you know this show, but if you do, let me know if you watched it like I did. But it was this show about celebrities. They would take you around their big celebrity home. And one episode was Missy Elliott. And oh, no, I'm mixing up the shows. It wasn't Cribs. It was Punked. Punked. Yes, Punked, that show. So it's like pranks on celebrities. Anyway, Missy Elliott. And the prank that they pulled on her was that so she was at this jeweler's, and I can't remember if she was getting something polished of hers or fixed or altered, but anyway, she was at this jeweler's, and the prank was that they couldn't give it back to her because it had been stolen or something of that ilk. Now, she has Mars in Aquarius, and she is a Scorpio rising. So instantly, according to traditional astrology, Hellenistic astrology, that's very important because Mars is her life path ruler, and she has Mars in Aquarius, this masculine Saturnian air fixed sign, light sign. And I'll always remember the scene and her outrage and how she refused to accept that this jewelry could not be returned to her. And she got up on the actual glass display case, and she was like, if you do not give me back my jewelry, I'm going to stamp on this glass case. I'm going to smash up your store. And I always kind of felt, for whatever reason, that is very Mars in Aquarius. You know, Aquarius is associated, as I said at the beginning, with things that are very unexpected, also things that are random. This is because Saturn rules outcasts. Saturn rules things that are off the charts. Saturn is also the ruler of like interstices and borders between what we know and what we don't know. And Saturn himself has like his own universe, and you have all the rings around Saturn. He's kind of like really protected a lot from what is on the outside, and a lot when it comes to Saturn is to do with like self-regulation and self support. So what's the word I want to use? Self-sustenance and those types of thing. But also, yes, the Aquarian expression of Saturn is like very something out of the blue or outcast, or unexpected or random. So I always will remember that. And another thing I wanted to talk about, especially if you're like Mars, let's get back to Mars here. If you're like Mars rising, or you're somehow very Martian in your chart, you might relate to this. But I have a friend, I don't know if she'll be watching this, but if she does, she'll remember this. And years ago, we were, she's Mars rising, and she is also an activist. And I'll never forget, one time we were just walking by like this big kind of, not billboard, but like a construction site, kind of, you know, the barriers that they put up. We were walking by there, and she'd had some eggs, some groceries with her, and she just saw the face of, I'll not say who they are, but like the face of a politician that she clearly did not like, and decided to deface this face with the eggs. And she just like threw these eggs at this politician's face. It was like nighttime, and there weren't that many people around, but it was pretty close to our university, and in the middle of London as well. And I just found that very Mars rising as well. So Mars is a malefic. Mars also, as we know, rules things like attacks and assaults and anger. And it can be, if you're a Mars rising, for you, something of that ilk. Your life or your spirit, your experience can be like you just want to throw eggs. But also it's very Aquarian, like as I said at the beginning, like things that go splatter, slime, things you want to throw or chuck or flip over. This is also kind of Aquarian. And Aquarius is often associated with contradictions. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, how many astrologers do say that Aquarius is the contradictory sign. A lot of Aquarius heavy people, they, the moment they get this sniff that you think they're going to do something in a certain way, they might deliberately do it the opposite way. So they can be very contradictory, especially the Aquarius rising. They always have a trick up their sleeve. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to talk about today is So as I mentioned from the book as well, Mars rules like falling and like going backwards and like being taken aback. And I want to say for this Mars and Aquarius transit to embrace your quirkiness. And what I mean is like, I'll share a little story with you from my today. Today, so I speak Korean. I'm pretty fluent in Korean, but I'm always learning as well, new stuff. And I learned today that I was actually using a particular Korean like grammar pattern the wrong way. And I've been using this the wrong way for like maybe a year now. But I didn't know until today when someone told me, but this pattern you should only use to people who are younger or lower than you. And but I was using it to people like him who are older than me. So it was just like a funny, like I want to run into a hole in the floor or I want to disappear kind of moment. When you realize you've been saying or doing something the complete wrong way for so long and nobody told you. It was that kind of like, oh my God, falling flat on your face type of thing. But I want to say like from that, like with this Mars and Aquarius transit, something that a lot of us can take from it is like just allow yourself to kind of laugh at yourself and embrace what I call like self-efficacy. Is that a word? Like to not deprecate, but self-effacate. What is the word? If someone knows the word I'm looking for, let me know. But like self-effacing, I think that's the expression. Like self-effacing. Let yourself be a bit self-effacing. Or in other cases for people, like this is like eating crow or admitting that you're wrong and just also laughing at yourself and being silly with yourself, letting yourself be silly. I do think that this self-effacing is a virtue. Absolutely, it's a virtue, especially if you're a manager or a leader or a parent. I think it's really good to demonstrate this type of thing, to embrace this in your personality, in your growth, because it shows that you're human. It shows that you are vulnerable too, that you make mistakes too, and that's fine. And people will trust you more and laugh with you more. So those are just some kind of opening things I wanted to talk about as well for this Mars and Aquarius transit. And I also wanted to talk about a few of the tarot cards that I think reflect this transit. And the first one is the Five of Wands. And this tarot card actually is the card that came out for my daily tarot draw. So I always draw a card every day for myself. And this is actually the one that came out, but it's also something I want to associate with this transit. The Five of Wands. I like to think of this card as the chaotic juggling card. It can be very much like how I feel today, like when you're on a high, on a vibe, you have a lot of things to do, to manage, and it's kind of like you are a juggler of things. But the Five of Wands can also be like you are a juggler of visions. Maybe you are in the midst of or caught up in different people's visions, and it can be like a competitive type of vibe as well, the Five of Wands. And then also have the Ace of Wands. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the astrological year and closer to Aries season. And the Ace of Wands, look at the colors, look at this card. The Ace of Wands I always associate with brand new beginnings, but especially things that you really want to conjure up for yourself. This is fire, wands, magic type stuff. Things that you want to really get cracking, get going. Things that you want to initiate in some big bursty way. High vibes for you too, Cinza. Yes. I might have had too much coffee as well. But anyway, we have also the Tower card that I picked because the Tower very often is associated with Mars, but also it can be a very kind of Aquarian, this masculine expression of Saturn, the unexpected, or the outside, or the outcast suddenly coming back through in some sense, or bursting up in some sense. And the Tower card has a bad reputation as well, just like Mars has a bad reputation. But I want to write later for you in the description some tarot scapes. So I'm actually going to, if I can find them, I'm going to write for you journal entries where I picked the tarot card for certain days of my life and what actually happened on those tarot card days. And when we do this, we often are surprised at how these quote unquote bad cards in the tarot or negative cards are actually expressed and what we are actually being invited to learn about or engage with. But anyway, that's later. So let's get, shall we, into the signs. So Mars and Aquarius for your specific rising sign. So I'm a traditional astrologer and I don't do sun sign astrology per se. I do rising sign astrology. So please follow this from the perspective of your rising sign. That would be the most advised or the most accurate. Another disclaimer is this is just my take astrologically. And when I talk about a particular house, it doesn't mean that you will experience every single thing that that house contains during this transit. You might just experience one thing. And especially if Mars is not really contacting natal placements of yours or aspecting natal placements of yours, it might not be like a huge or dramatic or epic thing. It might be nothing for you. It might be something just curious or mundane for you. But I'm pretty sure for most people, it will be something Martian. That's something I can almost guarantee, especially with Mars conjuncting Pluto. I think this is one of the rarer occasions where the god cannot just be ignored and will affect almost everyone in some Martian way. The other thing I want to say is Mars rules two houses in your birth chart. So Mars rules Aries and Mars rules Scorpio. Again, this is traditional astrology. So you need to look to the two houses that Mars rules in your chart because you have this ruler of those two houses transiting a third house in your chart, a different house in your chart, right? Let's start anyway with Mars for Aquarius Rising. So if you are Aquarius Rising, Mars is currently transiting your first house, and Mars rules your third and your 10th houses. So for you, this is like personally putting yourself forward big time for something third house. Now, there's so many things in the third house, but that could be things like a sibling, like maybe you're gonna, during this kind of rough month period, maybe you're going to really put yourself out there to help a sibling. The third house also includes friends or neighbors, people around you in your localities, your local community. So it could be something to do with that as well. It could be for the sake of your community, something that you're doing. It can also be with the third house, especially something to do with the way you communicate. And because the first house sextiles the third house, there's definitely potential here for you to work on or be pushed to work on how you relate to the world, how you communicate with people. Maybe Aquarius Rising. Nicki Minaj has this placement. Maybe there's some way in which you relate or talk or speak that is being brought up or flagged up. Red flags, Mars, red. Maybe there's something that is being brought up for you to tend to or jump on or fix, or maybe you have to fight in some sense through your medium of communication. Maybe you have to defend a friend or a neighbor. That kind of thing could also crop up for you, Aquarius Rising. Okay, Pisces Rising then. So Mars will be transiting your 12th house, and Mars rules your second and 9th houses. So for you, this is learning about how you are spending, how you are dieting. This is about your nutrition. And for some people, some Pisces risings, it will be like how this is harming you, because we have the 12th house here and we have hidden things that trip us up sometimes or undo us sometimes. But also it's the house of hidden treasures. So it could be where you finally conquer or master or learn, ninth house, learn something really big that has to do with how you are effing up your health, for example, or your body, or your I don't know, your blood pressure or something. It could be something to do with your health, anything to do with your health, in terms of like your nutrition and what you're actually putting into your body. Okay, Aries rising then. This is really important for you, this transit, because Mars is your life path ruler or your chart ruler as an Aries rising. So this is for you conquering something that you fear during this transit. That's because Mars is your 8th house ruler. Mars also, of course, rules your 1st house, and it's transiting your 11th house. So if you've had some kind of wish, Aries, to conquer a particular fear, for example, then this could be a brilliant transit to do that. And also, I would say for Aries risings to take back or take what you have earned, especially if you're more of a quaint or timid kind of Aries rising. This transit can really be important for you to actually ask, I don't know, for a salary increase, or ask for something back that you lent to someone, or to take a title or something that is rightfully yours to take and hold up there. So it could be very helpful for some Aries risings in that regard. Then we've got Taurus rising. So Mars is transiting your 10th house of career, calling, and big actions. And Mars rules your 12th house and your 7th house, Taurus. And for you, I have this such things as go on a getaway with like your partner. This can also be your partner asserting, or partners asserting themselves in some way. Maybe they're getting more confident, or maybe they're getting more feisty in some way. Maybe they're getting hornier in some way. This is also trouble in paradise. Now in Gaelic, we have Natriobloid, or the troubles, and Mars. There's in Korean as well. There's this word trouble, which I noticed hairstylists and beauty people use a lot. But trouble, which is a Konglish, Korean English word or phrase, is used for like skin inflammations and rashes and things like that. And Mars is the ruler of skin inflammation, or any kind of inflammation, rash, hives, kind of itches, that type of thing. So there could be something of that ilk as well coming to the surface for you that you have to take action on, or relating to your partner in terms of these troubles. And it could be trouble in paradise for some Taurus risings as well, because we do have the 7th house ruler here. Gemini rising then. Mars is transiting your 9th house, and Mars is the ruler of your 11th and 6th houses. So for you, Gemini rising, this is stuff like helping out your friends in need, maybe. This is stuff like also obstacles being in the way of your wishes, attaining your wishes. Maybe these obstacles are more annoying now, or more finicky now, and you're having to fight more or push harder in some sense, Gemini. Cancer rising then. This is Mars transiting your 8th house, and Mars rules your 10th and 5th houses. So for you, this is big love time, big love action I have for you. This is kind of like Valentine's Day vibes on steroids. Excuse me. This is also big action or big change for those who have kids. And this is for like plants and pets and anything that you call your baby, your child. This is also stuff like taking a big risk, Cancer. This is coming out on the spiritual stage, kind of like, wah, just in time for the dragons, right? Just in time for the beginning of the astrological year and the dragon year. Leo rising, then. This is Mars transiting your 7th house of partners, committed partners, the other open enemies, and Mars rules your 9th and 4th houses. So for you, I have things like a sense of rootedness and security coming from pursuing learning or education, taking a course, or getting back to the books in some sense. This is also for some your partners giving you like a good loving. Sean Paul, I've been listening to a lot of Sean Paul recently. He is a Capricorn sun. And Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn. But anyway, for you, Leo rising, this is like partners also inspiring you in some way, perhaps, or other people inspiring you. And this is like, what the hell did I write here? Oh yeah, maybe partners or other people increase your sense of security or really stir something up in terms of passion for you, Leo. Virgo rising, then. This is a really, really, really beautiful, potentially, and significant transit for you, Virgo, because Mars has his joy in the 6th house, and this is the house that he is transiting for you, Virgo. And Mars also rules your 8th and 3rd houses. So for you, I've got stuff like acting on debts to your friends, getting sassy or savage about what you deserve as well, Virgo rising. So very exciting stuff for you. And Libra rising, then we have Mars transiting your 5th house, very saucy, potentially very sexy. And Mars rules your 7th house and 2nd house. So this can be stuff like the effort you put into your partner. Maybe you're trying to like rekindle or struggle with getting romance into your relationship or back into your relationships. And this is also, interestingly, I'm getting pregnancy for Libra risings, some Libra risings. And this is kids. This is co-creativity as well in all the different senses. So maybe you're really feeling driven to work more with others or get ahead with a business partner, that kind of jam. Scorpio rising, then, just like Aries rising, very important transit for you too, because we have Mars, your life path ruler, involved. And this is Mars for you in the 4th house. And Mars rules, of course, your 1st house and also your 6th house. And for you, then, this is like you are uprooting something, potentially, Scorpio rising. This is also getting to the core of your bad fortune. The 6th house is the house of bad fortune. So stuff like fixing your CV, for some people, fighting for your reputation. Maybe you need to protect the way you are being perceived or portrayed. And I think this is just another day in Scorpio rising land, to be honest. So for a lot of Scorpio risings, it's not going to be too terrible or bad at all. Because a lot of Scorpio risings are just so used to all this Martian energy. Anyway, Sagittarius rising. This is Mars in your 3rd house, and Mars rules your 5th and 12th houses. So this is kind of stuff like, how do you talk to your kids if you have kids, or how do you talk to your pets, maybe. This is also surprises around you that pertain to something 5th house. Maybe love, romance, surprising you, neighbors, maybe getting into surprise relationships, siblings as well, maybe getting into relationships, falling in love, or friends, siblings, people around you being taken aback or swept away in some sense, or pulled away from work or pulled away from home in some sense for some reason. Maybe even pulled abroad for some reason, Sagittarius rising. Finally, Capricorn rising. This is Mars transiting your 2nd house. Now, Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn, and you may know that Mars is currently in your sign, Capricorn rising, in your 1st house. So you have been potentially engaging with a lot of Martian energy, but now he's entering your 2nd house, and he is the ruler of your 4th and 11th houses. This is stuff like your efforts paying off, regarding like wishes about things like your home, your house, your past. I would say also that some Capricorn risings can put a stop now to the spending, or so much of the spending, and let things. What I just want to say for Capricorn rising is to not go too crazy with it, basically, especially if you've already been doing a lot of the spending and the pushing out and the exertion. Try to protect, because we do have a malefic entering your second house now. Try to protect your assets, your money, your possessions, all that stuff, and use that Capricorn rising sense. That's what I have for you, all of you, my loves, on this Mars in Aquarius transit. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was insightful or informative or interesting for you. And let me know in the comments where you have Aquarius in your birth chart. And yes, just give me the light and pass the draw. Yes, I love Jean Paul. I listen to him when I exercise almost every day. I just love that Capricorn energy. Thank you for tuning in to the live stream, Hinstas, and thank you for anyone watching after the fact. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And the timestamps will be coming very soon. Love you. Take care. All the best. I need to have some dinner now. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.